Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are kicking off something pretty ambitious, a
Mm,
journey into what we think is going to be the definitive guide for, well, for building the next decade of any organization.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
We're starting a full 10-part series. We're going to dissect Chris Tansey's new book, Scaling Digital Capital, Architecting the AI-Augmented Organization.
And we really mean dissect. This isn't just a book review.
No, not at all. This is a chapter-by-chapter, framework-by-framework walkthrough.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've been following the AI space, and if you're listening, you know the questions have just shifted so dramatically.
Right.
So our mission here really is to get you past just adopting AI
Yeah.
and into actively architecting it.
Moving from asking, hey, can we use the shiny new thing, to designing, okay, how does this become a permanent load-bearing part of our company?
Exactly. And to really set the stage for why this book even exists right now,
Hmm.
you have to start with this one story from the preface. It's almost unbelievable. Tansey calls it the graduation proof.
It's a wild story.
It's the ultimate signal that AI isn't a pilot program anymore. It's a utility. So, in early 2025, IBM, they did something that just floored the entire industry. They closed their internal IT phone lines.
Wait, closed them, not outsourced them to a cheaper call center.
No, not outsourced.
Yeah.
Closed. Shut them down. For a company of 280,000 people globally.
That's like taking the electricity out of a building. It's a core piece of infrastructure that's been there for decades. How is that even possible?
Their internal Ask Guy system,
Mhm.
and this is not just some simple chatbot. It's a whole network of AI agents.
Uh-oh.
These things have digital identities. They keep audit trails. And this is the crucial part. They collaborate with each other to solve problems. And they hit a tipping point. They now resolve 82% of all support requests with zero human help.
82%. Okay, so let's unpack that number. That's not just saving money.
Right.
That's proof of functional redundancy. The phone line, the thing we all just assume has to be there, was made obsolete for almost 300,000 employees. An engineered system just outperformed it.
And that's exactly it. That's the urgency of the book. And Tansey is really upfront in the preface. He basically says that the main idea from his first book, Managing Digital Capital, was right. But his timeline was completely fundamentally wrong.
I thought we had years to sort this out, right?
Years. He wrote that first book to tackle the mindset problem, the handshake, as he calls it.
Right.
The idea was to get people to treat AI like a real workforce digital capital, with the same management, the same accountability you'd give a person. The idea was solid. The timeline it collapsed from years down to months.
That speed is just incredible. So if book one was about management, about the mindset, what was the pivot that made book two necessary?
The pivot is from management to engineering. It's that simple. AI stopped being an experiment, and it became something companies absolutely depended on for core operations.
And the questions from the C-suite changed.
Completely. Overnight. In 2023, the big question was, will this even work? By 2025, it was, how do we scale this safely without, breaking the entire company?
That's the shift right there. Will this work versus how do we scale this safely? That's why you need a blueprint. It's why you need a hard hat approach, as he said.
Exactly, and that's confirmed by the money. Chapter 1 is all about what Tansey calls the spending signal. If you want to know if something has graduated from a cool idea to real infrastructure, just follow the money.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because in 2023, companies spent about $2.3 billion on AI.
Sounds like a lot.
It does, but Tansey points out that 80% of that was just, buying off-the-shelf vendor tools. It was mostly innovation funding for proofs of concept.
Then 2024 happened. The numbers they're undeniable proof. Spending went from $2.3 billion to $13.8 billion.
That's a six-fold increase.
In 1 year. And for Gen AI specifically, it was even crazier. It went from $600 million to $4.6 billion. An 8 times jump.
Okay, a 6 or 8 times spike in 1 year. That's not cautious experimentation.
No.
That's the sound of companies racing to pour concrete and lay fiber optic cable, but for their digital world.
And the budget source confirms it. By 2024, 40% of that spending was coming from permanent operational budgets, not the temporary innovation funds anymore.
That's a huge signal. When the CFO moves that money from an R&D bucket to a permanent line item, what are they really saying?
They're saying AI is now a capitalized asset. It's part of the company's economic engine. It's not a speculative bet anymore. It's essential infrastructure you have to maintain and build on. It's a total repositioning of the tech on the balance sheet.
And the whole build versus buy calculation just flipped on its head.
Completely. In 2023, everyone was buying. By 2024, almost half, 47%, were building their own AI in-house.
Why is building in-house so important as an indicator?
Because building means you're committing your own proprietary data and, more importantly, your own people. Buying a license is an operational expense you can cut tomorrow. Building means you're hiring specialized AI engineers. It's a long-term capital investment.
You're saying this is our competitive advantage?
You're betting on it. It's like building your own power plant. And you see the tech megacaps doing it at an insane scale. They've committed something like $320 billion for 2025. It's an infrastructure arms race.
Wow. Okay, so this flood of money leads directly to the next part of Chapter 1, the capability leap. What did all that infrastructure spending actually, what did it buy us?
It bought the shift from the chatbot to the agent. And here's the P line. Chatbots automate conversation. Agents automate contribution.
I love that distinction. A chatbot answers your question. An agent does your work. That is a massive difference in value and also in risk.
It's a total shift. You go from a system that follows a rigid, step-by-step flowchart to one that actually reasons. Matt Lightson from IBM put it perfectly. He said old chatbots would break the second you went off script.
Right.
But Agentic AI can reason through a process dynamically. It can figure things out.
So it's not following a script, it's actually problem solving, which is why the IBM AskIt system can close 82% of tickets. It's deciding what to do next, who to talk to, what data to pull.
Yeah.
Just like a human would.
Precisely. And Christina Pieretti over at Moody's, she said this shift moves them from being a supplier of insights to a workflow partner.
A workflow partner.
Yeah. They're plugging the AI directly into the business process. It's drafting credit memos, it's running financial models. The AI is a coworker that hands you a finished deliverable.
Okay, but if an agent is doing actual work, if it's drafting a credit memo, that raises a huge question. Who is accountable if that agent makes a mistake, if it hallucinates a fact in that memo?
And that is the question that moves you from the playground to the grown-up table. Because once an agent produces a deliverable, the unit of work isn't the single prompt you typed anymore.
Right.
It's the entire workflow you designed. It's the orchestration of multiple agents that created that final accountable outcome.
And as soon as you have an AI as a workflow partner making accountable things, you slam right into the final part of Chapter 1, the governance reality. It's not a fun toy anymore. It's regulated infrastructure.
You can't depend on systems that reason without having checks and balances. The building codes have arrived. When AI was a pilot, governance was sort of, optional. Now it's mandatory for anything load-bearing.
Which is why you're seeing all these formal frameworks pop up. You've got the EU AI Act, which isn't a suggestion. It mandates risk assessments for high-risk AI.
And here in the U.S., you have the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, which is basically the how-to guide for documenting and testing these systems. And for global companies, there's ISO 42001, which is what the auditors will use as their checklist.
But there's no more winging it.
No. If you're scaling, you are complying, period. And it's complex. The data shows 37% of big companies are already running 5 or more separate AI models in production at the same time.
5 or more. And they all have to talk to each other and be monitored.
And be compliant. If one of those 5 models hallucinates a number in a financial report, that's not just a funny glitch. That's a potential governance violation, a liability. That's why the question is all about safety and scale.
Which brings us perfectly to the core metaphor for the whole book and for our whole series. The book casts you, the listener, as the architect.
Right, because in this new world, the structure is everything. It matters more than any single component. Most companies today just have a pile of AI tools. Tansey calls it lumber.
A pile of lumber.
Yeah, you've got a coding agent over here, a chatbot over there, very expensive pile of parts, but nothing's connected. Nothing is load-bearing.
So the architect is the one who takes that lumber and designs the actual building. This book is the blueprint for taking that pile of expensive, disconnected tools and building a unified, dependable organization.
And our series is going to follow that blueprint exactly. Part 1, where we are now, is the foundation. Where we are, why AI graduated, and next time, how you actually value it.
Then we move right into Part 2, the workers, which gets into the details of the synthetic developer and researcher roles.
After that, it's Part 3, the infrastructure. This is the deep stuff.
Yeah.
The data substrate, the agent-to-agent nervous system, and the synthetic org chart that maps humans and AI together.
And finally, Part 4 is the operating system. We'll cover the economics, the governance, and the architect's playbook that ties it all together. We are literally going to give you the full architectural plans.
The graduation is over. It's done. AI is no longer an experiment. It's regulated infrastructure that you have to capitalize and manage. Prompts became architecture. That's the whole game now.
You know, what really stands out to me, connecting back to that $13.8 billion spending number, is that when you build real infrastructure, you have to measure its value. But our old tools like return on investment, they were built for a different world, before digital capital. So if AI is really an asset on the balance sheet now, how do we actually value what it
That
does?
is the central problem that Chapter 2 is designed to solve. We need new ways of measuring this, new metrics for managing appreciation, not just cutting costs.
And that is exactly where we're going to pick up next time. We are diving into Chapter 2, the digital balance sheet.
We'll break down why traditional ROI just fails here. And we'll introduce Tansey's framework for return on efficiency, ROE, and the 5 asset classes of digital capital. It's all about moving from measuring inputs to measuring outcomes.
We'll see you then, architect. Get ready to start building.